New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.
Yep. What's going on? This is Jay Ellis from the Knick Of Time Show. Here to give you that Knicks talk just in the nick of time. Not excited to talk about a Knicks loss, a brutal one. The Knicks lose to the Bucks in close fashion. We were up by 17 points in the third quarter, but end up falling, what's the score? 107 to 111. And now let's take a look at this box score. We already know there's only really three people to really focus on. The Knicks is giving buckets. You know, Julius Randle is giving us 25 points, 16 rebounds, and 5 assists with 2 steals on the night. Jalen Brunson dropped 44, 7 rebounds with 4 assists. Quickly gives us 23 points. Knicks only have 16 assists total. Really strange game, but we're still in this game to win it, but end up losing to the Bucks, largely because the bench scoring is non-existent. We got outscored by the bench. Drew Holiday hits clutch things. Ingle cooked us, and we end up falling to the championship. I thought after a very little game, we were in the driver's seat, but we just could not get it together. And I'm going to talk about it all. Before we talk about it, I'm going to shout out to Fubu TV. Shout out to Fubu TV. If you go to FubuTV.com/KOT, you can watch the Knicks for free for 7 days on MSG. All right, so shout out to Fubu TV. You can watch the Knicks, other cable channels, other football channels, Fresh Prince Martin, whatever you want to watch. So shout out to Fubu TV for working with us. All right. Also, really please hit the like and subscribe button as well. It'll help the channel grow, and also comment, because we actually like getting into it with you guys in the comments. All right. Now I'm gonna introduce you to my guys. First and foremost, it is the man, the myth, the legend, the guy with the stats and the facts.
Ryan G's in the building. Disappointing loss tonight, but Wednesday's another day. Hopefully they can get back on track against the Pacers on Wednesday.
Absolutely. Wednesday is another day. Next up is the Latin assassin, Mr. ESPN contributor, Mr. Deadspin contributor, posting and toasting contributor, SNY contributor, my man, the Latin assassin, Lee Escobedo. What's going on, Lee?
What's up, Jay Ellis? What's up, Ryan? I wanted to start the show with a special shout out and recognition for head coach Tom Thibodeau's 100th win last Friday against the Toronto Raptors. Really proud and happy of our head coach. Got to the 100 win mark in such dominating fashion. He's the first coach since Mike Woodson to be able to hit the 100-game mark, and I hope he puts that memorialized on a plaque to hang in his man cave when his bum ass is fired after the summer and at home watching the Knicks on TV, because this man gotta go.
I'm sorry, Lee. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but he will not be fired after the summer.
A man can wish and dream and hope.
It's just not going to happen, man.
I agree with you, but it's not going to happen, but it needs to happen.
I can already tell where this is going. I'm already saying this. I don't blame this loss on the coach at all, but I can already feel the temperature where it's going. We got smacked because of bench scoring, for real, for me. That's what I'm looking at first, is the bench scoring was a huge issue. 3 back-to-back threes in the fourth quarter by Ingles in the span of a minute really did us in, and that's with Randle and Brunson on the bench. Things turned very quickly. Quickly had a great game. I was hoping he would actually man the fort when those guys on the bench. Just didn't really happen. But I think that was a huge component to why we lost, on top of the Hartenstein minutes in the third quarter as well. really didn't suit us. Mixed with some tired legs in that third quarter from Randall and Brunson. Those to me were one of the big chunks of reasons why we lost. And I'll get to another reason why we lost a little bit later. But to me, those are like the things that really stand out to me. But overall, Knicks played a tough game, a rough game. Defensively, we're in it. I tweeted, this is looking like the best defensive performance of the season by these Knicks. We competed relentlessly, showed Randall one-on-one defense on Giannis was impeccable. Grimes helped out. Mitch helped out. We just could not sustain that much activity level for that long period of time. And it was a big reason why we lost. And I see somebody ask about Sims. I agree Sims should be playing. But I'll save that for somebody else to mention. And I'll let Lee go since he's fuming. I don't already know he wants to say something.
Oh, man. I have to hand it to the Knicks players. I do believe that Tom Thibodeau has his guys completely bought into his defensive schemes. They're listening to him and they're executing his instructions. The issue is the instructions are outdated and incorrect. There shouldn't be an over-reliance on paint coverage and defending the paint while giving up threes. Those back-to-back threes that you referenced earlier is because Thibodeau overcommits to the weak side help to stay in the paint and make sure that Giannis always has a wall that he drives into. The problem is you're leaving a team that plays 5 out. Remember that stretch 5 conversation we had about a month ago? The Bucks are the perfect example of that, and they're a championship by the winner as well. They play 5 out, and they have some really hot sharpshooters. At one point in time, Joe Ingles was in the top 5 3-point percentage like 2 or 3 seasons, not necessarily in a row, but within a span. Brook Lopez is probably the best shooting big in the NBA, and those are 2 of the 3 guys that killed us in the fourth quarter because of Tibbs' over-reliance on guarding the paint and allowing some of the best shooters in the NBA to be wide open on the perimeter, which is why you found Evan Fournier, rightly so, helping out on Giannis. But what's he don't do when Giannis is driving to the paint? Well, he also left Joe Ingles open in the corner. So Joe Ingles buried a 3 on us. It's that type of arrogance in his ways to not change and mold, not just on a season, on a macro level, but on a micro game-to-game level as well. He has an inability to change. I'm not like tearing my apartment apart because we lost this game. It was a frustrating one. Nothing will beat the Dallas one to me, unfortunately. But it's just sad that here we are with another example of a Knicks breakdown going into the fourth quarter with a lead and we lost a game. And I do think there are multiple reasons why. And I think his rotations from about the end of the third to the beginning of the fourth are the reason we lost primarily, which are over-reliance on Hartenstein, not playing Sims, pairing Obi and Fournier together defensively was horrendous. Having IQ lead a group of like McBride and Fournier and Obi and Mitch was like, those are really horrible coaching decisions. And I think ultimately it fell on him.
I would say I would agree. I used to say it was the scheme until I saw other examples of people doing similar things and having success. Like, we've played perfect defensive 3-point basketball for damn near 3 quarters. And I mean, listen, there was a reason Devin Fournier was benched for those long stretches of time. It's because of that. At the same time, you know, when Grimes is in there, he wasn't getting those type of looks. Stretch 5s, you're always going to have problems with that, especially when you have a freight train with Giannis. And like I said, we defended it pretty perfectly for 3 quarters until that lineup. But like, then again, it's like we don't have RJ to not play Obi, Evan Fournier together. You kind of have to play the horses you have, which is why I don't really put that on Tibbs. And I kind of see why he overplayed Brunson and Randall a little bit today. The only rebuttal I'll say is maybe you play Sims over Hartenstein. That's, to me, that's still more of a front office thing. We're gonna freaking be battling that for the rest of the year until we go run through the motions of Hartenstein just not being better than Sims in anything whatsoever. But I'm sorry, I usually let Ryan go. Oh, go ahead, Ryan. I know I kind of took up your usual spot. I had to get that off.
Nah, it's cool. It's cool. I definitely hear what the both of y'all are saying. I just think this game was just a matter of like small margins because first and foremost, the lack of scoring by the bench definitely hurt the Knicks in this game. I feel like if the bench was able to do a bit more on the offensive end, I think Thibs would have been more willing to leave the bench guys out there, which would have gave Brunson, Randall, and guys like that more time to rest.
Yeah.
But because the bench was not giving no offensive production, and then on top of that, the Bucks bench was out there with Ingles shooting lights out and Bobby Portis contributing as well. I think that hurt the Knicks when the bench was in the game. And then on top of that, defensively, I hear what Lee is saying, but at the same time, it's like with the Bucks, you really have to pick your poison because they play 5 out, and you would want to guard the perimeter, but then that's why the Bucks do that because if you have your guys spaced out and guard the perimeter, then you have Giannis just running amok in the paint. And I'm not going to be too hard on Thibs with the defensive scheme because I do understand that, you have to guard them 5 out. You got to guard them a 5 out on the perimeter, but at the same time, you do have to stop Giannis. And and when Giannis was driving into the paint, the Knicks did collapse on Giannis, which made him ineffective for the most part. And, you would rather Giannis probably passing the ball rather than him just killing you out and just dropping 30, 40 on you. So I'm not going to be too hard on things when it comes to the defensive scheme. But I think, like I said, I just think it's small margins. The bench didn't produce. And when the bench was out there, Bucks bench just killed them. And then on top of that, like, even at the end of the game, like, the game was close. Drew Holiday hits 2 shots. This dude ain't do nothing all game. He hits 2 shots, and Grimes was draped all over him. It's not even like they were open shots. Grimes was all over him, and he hits 2 difficult shots, and that got the Bucks over the hump. So it's hard for me to really be hard on Thibs on this game, even though I agree. I do not agree with Obi and Fournier being on the court at the same time. Like, if you're gonna incorporate Obi back in the lineup, I do agree. I would rather Hardesty be the one to sit and just have Sims, Obi, McBride, and Fournier just play as the bench unit. But also, I think it also shows that the Knicks really do need RJ to come back. Because with RJ coming back, you move quickly back to the bench and quickly can provide that scoring pop off the bench. Because without quickly on the bench, Knicks bench barely gives you anything offensively. And they need some more pop off that bench. So the Knicks really need RJ to come back so quickly can move back to the bench and provide the extra scoring off the bench that the Knicks need.
I thought Randall did a pretty good job of playing Giannis one-on-one for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, another criticism I had was Tibbs playing Randall the entire first half. I think he might have set for like 2 minutes, which of course is going to be gas in the fourth quarter. Like, it's about fatigue. Well, there's a reason why these players are fatigued because Tibbs overplays them, not just this game, but game to game. Randall had to play the entire first half guarding the best brute force in the entire NBA. But he was tired in the fourth quarter. But I don't think that having Evan Fournier slide over as a third man as part of a defensive wall for Giannis is really going to stop Giannis. He needs to be draped over the perimeter guy because Bud went 3 guards out toward the end of the game. He had his best shooters out there. You can't leave any of those guys open, especially how high IQ Giannis is at finding shooters when he's driving to the paint and getting out. So I thought it was a bad defensive choices, bad rotation choices by Tibbs, but it's also on the players to execute while they're out there. Brunson did a great job to, talk about some pros. Brunson IQ did a really great job at being clutch down the stretch and having great all-around games. I'm not going to blame them at all, but this isolation play that Tibbs runs on offense, it's laughable. The rest of the league laughs at us at the way that we play offense because it's just ISO play. Every player is just an ISO situation. We don't run any type of real schematics, and it's an embarrassment. I think anyone who defends Tibbs at this point is an embarrassment, in my opinion.
Well, I'm going to embarrass me because I'm going to defend him right now. I'm just telling you right now. It's crazy because here's the thing that's crazy because we were up. I am not a proponent of only playing ISO play, but I look at the first quarter and I'm seeing Randall miss wide open threes. I'm looking at the fourth quarter and we still had a chance to win this game. The refs missed a crazy Drew Holiday foul from Brunson at the 3-point line, which is ridiculous. Bruh. And then on top of that, I'm looking at Randall right? Here's one thing about Randall. I love the turnaround Randall's had this year. From the defense to the passing to the hustle. Today did not have it offensively in that first half. The final key for Randall to me is still a little bit of mentality, because even when he's having a phenomenal game, when Randall has the ball with like less than 5 minutes left in the game, I'm nervous no matter what. I don't even care if he's going off in the first 6 minutes of the fourth quarter. By the time there's like 5 minutes left, I'm nervous.
Yeah.
Brunson, hold on. I got to change the screen before I talk about Brunson. Hold on a second. Because Brunson was destroying these guys. Brunson is going to have a 50-point game in a Knicks uniform. He's going to be the first Knick to have 50 points. I'm calling that right now. But there was a point in the game when Brunson was causing so much havoc that they trapped him. Randall has the ball all alone. Brook Lopez is right there, mid-range, all by himself. A shot he takes fading away, wide open. He hesitates, doesn't shoot it, causes a turnover. And these are the moments where I want Randall to like gain his confidence, because as great as Randall is, which is, he still is missing that killer instinct to say, yeah, that's the guy. That's the guy I want to have the ball in his hand at the end. He does everything right at certain points of the season, but that. And then you, on the flip side, you're looking at Jrue Holiday, who can have a bad game for 3 quarters and then turn it on like a switch. Right now, we only have one guy, maybe 2. I see one guy can count on, can turn it on like a switch, in Jalen Brunson. And I see like a spade's hand, 2 possibles, right? I seen IQ do it last year. I haven't really seen it this year. And I seen RJ Barrett done it in instances. But Randall is still like an enigma to me. Like, for us to win this game, even with the low assist numbers, Randall makes easy shots with wide open spacing that Brunson's created for him. We win the game. I don't know if anybody else to say, but it is what it is right there. You have to make shots at the end of the day. You have to make shots at the end of the day. And I give the Knicks a lot of credit for fighting, for battling the rest, because the rest tried to throw the game away. But you got to make shots, man. Got to make shots.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think, well, toward the end of the game, I think Randall was more deferring to Brunson, because Brunson had the hot hand. I mean, at the same time, he was kind of hesitant to take some shots, and he was more like, I guess, reacting as opposed to just deciding what to do and go through with it. But I think he was deferring to Brunson, because Brunson had the hot game and Brunson had the hot hand, and Brunson was coming through, knocking in, big shots in the fourth quarter. I just think Randall was like, you know what, Brunson got the hot hand, let me just defer to him.
He was, son, he'd be looking like in the fourth quarter to me, man. No, he looks scared in the fourth quarter, bro. I'm sorry to say, Randall looks petrified in the fourth quarter. He looks like my man that just got traded from the Philadelphia 76ers, dog. Like, straight up, he looks scared. He looked like he didn't even want to touch the ball. Am I wrong?
That's not Randall all the time, though.
Huh?
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe that was Randall tonight, but like I said, I don't know. I think it was deferring to
Yeah.
Brunson.
I think he was exhausted. I agree.
It's one thing to be exhausted. It's one thing to be 7 feet from the basket, wide open, and hesitate. You give Kobe the ball 7 feet from the basket, and he's open. What is he doing? You give Durant that look. You give any of the big guys that look. Open. What are you doing? You shooting the ball, dog. You're not Ben Simmons is in the situation. He Ben Simmons us today, man. I'm sorry.
Wait, which play was that though? I'm trying to think. Was that the play when because there was one play where I was like, I think when he was like 7 feet away, but I think he had Mitch open.
He had Mitch open. He waited.
He never passed the ball, but he decided to go open. And I'm like, if he passed the ball to Mitch sooner, that would have been a dunk. Was that the play?
Yes, I'm talking about that play. It was a play when they doubled Brunson. He gets the ball. Lopez was right under the basket, and he was kind of like waiting. He kind of fell back to see what Randall was going to do, and Randall was caught between, should I shoot the ball or should I dump it off to Mitch? And as the game is on the line, if the game is on the line and the Brook Lopez is laying off for you, you have to shoot it. And he had like 2 or 3 plays in that span where I felt like he was hesitant. That's just me.
It's sad that Randall has initiated all the offense on his own too, in terms of like finding guys, and that there aren't plays drawn up for Mitchell Robinson to get the ball in the paint. And he's not utilized as an offensive threat more than he is. I think he's probably the most underutilized player on the team. The guys just aren't finding him. I think he didn't score his first points to the fourth quarter, even though he's playing unbelievable defense and rebounding at a really high level tonight. I just wish that we had a coach who had draw up schemes for all players on the court, opposed to just give the ball to someone and say, "Did us a bucket."
Right. I mean, it's one of those things. At the same time, what Tibbs does is he draws up schemes and makes the play and lets the player make the decision. I saw a shout out to Terry. I see you though. And that's a lot of reasons why offensively we've done a lot better this season, because we have a guy in Brunson who kind of run the offense a lot better. So a lot of it sometimes is really on Brunson to make that decision to pass it out. But at the same time, when he has it going, he has it going. But I do believe that I agree with you. We need to pass a lot more in general. It's still, to me, this is still one of those games where, like, even with that, we could have came away to win. Really. But yo, salute to the chat, man. Salute to the chat. I got 98% of what I had to say off my chest. If you want to call in and talk, give your looks about the game, your segment about the game, you can call in. You already know what it is. 319-527-6241. That's 319-527-6241. And you can give your takes. But shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to Craig. Shout out to NYK, Terry, and Trey. Shout out to my real fake cousin, Winston Ellis, Roberto Rivera Jr., and everybody else is rocking with the KOT show. Picks for Timmy as well. All right.
I like that comment by Craig that says players play, coaches handle rotations, rotate Bootysteen out the game. I think all of us can agree that iHeart is complete booty out there. I think he should be completely removed from the rotation at this point. And Sims should eat up. Sims and Obi can share his minutes completely. And just for the record, I don't think Tom Thibodeau is a Fizdale level coach. I think he's a better of an average coach. He's at a slightly better of an average because of his defensive acumen. I think he's a coach who can get you 50 wins. He's a coach who can come into your organization, one that's like really dysfunctional, like a Sacramento or Minnesota or New York, and he can turn a team around, get you 45 wins, and get you into the playoffs. I don't think he's one who could consistently get you to the conference finals, or once you're in the conference finals, get to the finals and win a championship. I do not think he's a championship caliber coach, which makes me worry. Like, we are on a trajectory forward. I'm optimistic. I think we're getting better every year because the players are improving.
Right.
And when we get to the point where we finally have a superstar and we're ready to win it all, I don't trust Tibbs whatsoever. to get us on top. So if we don't, we all agree we're going to fire him. I just happen to want to fire him earlier than the rest of y'all.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not going to happen though, because Leon Rose he is obsessed with optics. That's his friend, former boss, former client. There's no way he's going to fire him. That's the splashiest move he's made. And to fire him would signal a huge L on his part. So he's not going to take that L. He's just going to keep riding out Tibbs.
To be honest, I don't think any GM would fire a coach after like a winning season unless they felt like we underperformed. I feel like we're performing to standards of the NBA. Like I said, if we had legit MVP, multiple MVP candidates here who've been doing it for years, and then we were a 50-win team, then I say any GM would fire him. But at this point, I just don't see any GM firing Tibbs at this point. If there was a moment to fire Tibbs, and it might be more justified, it would be last season, not this one.
Yeah, I think we're not even good enough to be in the playoff conversation, but typically those firings happen after a coach continually loses in the first round, like season after season. Like Terry mentioned Dwayne Casey, which is a great example. He won Coach of the Year and was fired immediately right after that. And then Masai Ujiri got Nick Nurse, and they ended up winning championship once Kawhi was on board, replacing DeRozan. But to me, if Tibbs reaches a playoff again, and we've had this conversation, and he's bounced in the first round, then I think now he's in a context of playoff performance. Like, I give him his regular season accolades. Raw pulled all of his stats about net ratings and stuff. That's all great. To me, the playoffs matter a lot more, and he needs to show we are going to make the playoffs this year, and he's going to give us a great example to show us what kind of coach he is when the stakes are high.
Yeah.
I'll say,
go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to jump in right quick. I'll say this though, like, I do believe that the Knicks will stick with Thibs, and Thibs will be our coach at the end of the season and going into the playoffs. But I think there was a video I watched. I think it was on Knicks Fan TV, and I think they were interviewing. I believe it was Fred Katz. I got to go back and look back. I got to go and look back at it, and he made a good point about Thibs and the job he's doing this season, because he put out a stat that showed that the Knicks are, I think, 7th in defense, 11th in offense, and I think he said like something I gotta go back and look at the stats to make sure 100%. I'm just going based off memory what I watched earlier. And he said this stat, like the last, I think 17 champions in the NBA had top 10 defense and top 10 offense. And then he pointed out teams this season that have top 10 defense, top 10 offense. And he named, like, I know Brooklyn Nets was one of them. I want to say the Bucks was one of them as well, the Pelicans. And it was 5 teams, and one of them are the Knicks. And he was saying that, the Thibs is doing an exceptional job with the Knicks this season. But at the same time, you could also make an argument that Thibs is underperforming with the same squad, because every team that has top 10 defense, top 10 offense are dominant teams. And the fact that the Knicks are only, what 2 games over 500 at the moment, shows that you can make an argument that Thibs is underperforming, but you have to also look at it as a whole as well. And you have to look at the Knicks roster and be like, do the Knicks have a legit star in their team, like a legit superstar? And they don't. They're doing it with a bunch of players that are, at most maybe above average, and Randall and Brunson, etc. So I just think it was pretty important. I think it was pretty interesting to point that out.
Brunson's really good. Randall's playing like all NBA. I don't think that's an excuse. We have a really good team. We're not out here with Porzingis and a bunch of like bums. This is a very good roster with young players with upside, and one of the best starting fives in the NBA. Like the ratings are right through the roofs for a lot of the players in our starting unit, and we have a really good bench when everyone's healthy. Like, we should get out of the first round, in my opinion.
It depends on who we're facing.
As a 6th seed, which I think will end up, we should be able to beat the 3 seed, or for the 5th, we should beat the 4th. We're not beating Milwaukee. I don't have expected, or Boston, but I think we can beat anybody else.
Right now, though, we're not beating the Bucks.
No, right. I'm saying we're not beating Milwaukee or Boston.
I mean, I'll say this at first. To quote Fred Katz, we're 9th in offensive rating, and we are 10th in defensive rating, Ryan. I was looking at those numbers today. We're 9th in offensive rating and 10th in defensive rating.
I don't think it was our rating though.
Okay, but that's still top. It's top 10.
Yeah, it's still top 10.
It takes into consideration, the metrics. But we're 9th in offensive rating and 10th in defensive rating. Here's the thing. And here's why I still feel like we're like some enigma team who scrapped our way to the top and we still have ways to go. Because even with us being top 10, if you're looking, we're 24th in field goal percentage in the league. 24th. And 25th in 3-point shooting percentage in the league with having a top 10 offense, which means we're not just purely, outscoring people because of our beautiful offense. We're just mucking it up. We're top 3 in offensive rebounds, and we're getting all of our points that way. So I agree that we're having a good season because of the coaching, but I don't have these grandiose ideas of what we should be doing because we don't I feel like we're overvaluing players now when you say Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle should be taking us to the promised land in the second round. These are 2 guys who were not even first options on other squads who we brought here and starting to maximize their talent. So it's too outrageous to me to think that those 2 guys can all of a sudden just, now we're top 10 MVP players who should be able to beat teams who are seated higher than us in the playoffs.
Brunson beat the Jazz by himself. Brunson beat the Jazz by himself with the Mavs.
He did.
He was a dog in the
but
playoffs.
that's why. But listen, when I'm looking at the teams that we can match up with, I feel like the teams that we match up the best with that are ahead of us are the Cavs. Everybody else,
I agree.
Everybody else, I'm not so sure about. We get smacked by any other team but the Cavs. And not to say that the Cavs can't beat us. You know what I mean? I think it's a little too homerish to be like, yeah, we can take the. I don't know about that.
It's homerish to say we didn't take Philly. I mean, Philly's been up and down. They're dealing with major injuries. And they have one of the worst coaches in the NBA, in Doc Rivers, who's a complete overrated bum. I think that's a team that we could eke out in a 7-game series. Wouldn't be 5 games. It'd be 7. We could eat that out.
We could eat that. I'm not
gonna go that far. I'm not gonna go that far. I mean, Doc Rivers, he might underperform at times, but he's not a complete bum. And if the Sixers are at their best, they're beating the Knicks.
Joel Embiid is still better than anybody we have on this team.
I think we match up well against them. I don't think we have a shot against Boston or Milwaukee, but any other team in the East, I like our chances. And I'm just happy with a 7-game series. If Tibbs takes Philly to 7, we lose on a Joel Embiid step back fadeaway. I'm not going to say, fire Tibbs. We just swept in 4. Yeah, different story. That's all I'm saying.
I think it's hard to hold guys to that standard when you look at your roster. When you look at your roster and go, who can get me a bucket in crunch time? And then I'm looking at my best player, Randall. I'm going, no. And I'm looking at my best player in RJ and going, maybe. I'm not sure this year, but who knows? And then I'm looking at Brunson and I'm like, all right, cool. Brunson can get us a bucket at crunch time. But when you look at what happened today, when they decide I want to double Brunson, who's not going to choke? And then when you ask that question, then I have a lot of question marks. You know what I mean? Maybe Grimes can do it, but he hasn't done it before. Maybe he quickly can do it, but he hasn't done it on the big stage. There's a lot of question marks on the team to be like, if we don't take him to 7, we're not a good team, or he should be fired. Like there's too many question marks.
I disagree. I think the team showed us enough this season that they're overachieving and that the players that have been added to this team have upped the level of competitive play most namely Jalen Brunson and then Quentin Grimes into the starting lineup.
Who has done it in the playoffs, though? Who has done it in the playoffs besides Jalen Brunson? That's a whole
I think we
other
should be able to take a team that only has a really good starting five in Philly and be able to take them to 6-7 games. I don't think that's out of a question. That's not absurd.
I'll say this. All I got to say is I know we're proud of this team, but all you got to point at is guys who can do it in the clutch. The Bucks have Giannis. They have Drew Holiday. They have Chris Middleton. Nets have Kyrie. They have KD.
Right.
The Sixers have Embiid, Harden, even Maxey. Like those guys have multiple players in crunch that can do it.
Exactly.
The Knicks only have Brunson. That's the only guy that you can say without a doubt. In crunch time, he's going to get buckets. That's the only guy.
It's not reasonable.
Which is why I think we had coach with any imagination, we could run plays that actually get guys open with easier shots instead of having to work tirelessly one-on-one for 4 full quarters just to get buckets. The reason is because guys have been going to ISO mode and they're getting double, triple teamed. And then that's why it's hard for a guy like RJ or Randall. These other guys have point guards and plays and coaches where the guys are getting open shots as the ball moves and players pass the ball. They get guys open. They're setting screens. They're actually running a actual offense opposed to just going in isolation. If we had that, I think we could go a lot even further than the second round, but we don't.
I agree to a certain extent, but when you're looking at teams like Ja Morant, or you look like when he's in the playoffs, when it's playoff time, you know what they do? They hunt switches, and the best player takes on the weakest defender on the other team. That's what they do 9 times out of 10.
Are we just going to settle for sweeps and first round bounces until we get a superstar? Because I think we're better than that.
Nobody's better than that. Tell me a guy who's been to the finals without a superstar.
I'm not saying finals. I never said finals. Finals never came out of my mouth. I just think we should be able to get the first round.
All right, how many teams have beat another team with MVP candidates, multiple MVP candidates on them? That just doesn't happen. Like, you're talking about beating a guy in Joel Embiid, who's an MVP candidate, and James Harden, who was a top 10 player in the NBA for multiple years and was almost took out the Golden State Warriors in his heyday. We have nobody with that type of experience on his team. It's like completely unreasonable.
Jalen Brunson has that experience, which is why this is the only season I've said. Yeah, this is the only season I've ever actually said we should add the first round. Jalen Brunson elevates my expectations because he's been to the Western Conference Finals as the second best player on that team and beat an entire team on his own in the first round, dropping 40 points. He's unbelievable. And once RJ's back, I think we have a really good, solid depth and rotation in this team. And I think we could beat a team like Cleveland or Atlanta or Toronto or Indiana or Philly, whoever ends up, because the season has a lot more games to go outside of Boston and Milwaukee, who we cannot beat. But the Nets and anyone else, I think we could get them a very competitive 7-game series, especially Cleveland.
I think realistically speaking, the only way the Knicks get out of the first round is if the Knicks get themselves into the top 4. If the Knicks is within that bottom half of the playoffs, like 6th, 7th, 8th, they're not getting out the first round. We have to be real about it. They're not going to get out the first round.
I agree with you. I agree with you, Ryan. Now, should we get the playing tournament? Yes. Will we get smacked by the 7th or 8th seed? Also, yes. But if where are we are right now, which is a 6th seed, I think we could be able to beat the Cavs if we end up facing up against them. That's very possible, in my opinion.
I mean, I could see the Knicks winning like a couple of games. I don't think we'd be in the Cavs, though.
That would be great. If it goes 7 games, I'm happy. If we get swept, hell no.
I think people's expectations of the players on this team are a little bit too high. I think we were supposed to be right now. And I think that's why a lot of people are kind of getting disappointed because their expectations.
I think a lot of people. I think it feels like Tibbs supporters are just trying to like make preliminary backup plans and arguments when we end up getting our asses whooped in the first round, which is unfortunate because I think this team is good enough to beat anyone outside of the top 2. I really think we can. Brunson adds a whole new dynamic.
Brunson, one person.
Yeah, I mean, Randall's having a great year. If Randall plays in the playoffs that he is in the regular season, we got 2 guys.
Mm-hmm.
It's a question mark too. That's a question mark too. It's the same way with Tibbs. Randall choked in the playoffs too. But if he turns it around and plays awesome, there's no reason why we can't beat Cleveland.
That's what I'm saying. That's my whole thing. at the end of the day, coaching does matter to an certain extent. But when you look across the team and somebody has Kevin Durant, has Durant on their back or Hart on their back, like there's no scheme that's gonna drop a guy who shoots 60% from the mid. There's nothing you can really do about that. You have to kind of match it with other firepower. And right now, we I don't know, we just don't. We kind of going in circles right now, but it is what it is. What do y'all? Listen, man. I'm just glad I said Obi get some minutes today because I was kind of worried that he was going to be put in no man's land from the reports that I was getting from Ian Begley at the putback. I was surprised to even see him play a little bit today, to be honest with you. And he only played like 5 minutes.
Yeah. Short stints, very short stints.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But yo, salute to the chat. I don't really have any much else to say about this game. If anybody wants to call in, I can read some of these chats and we can call it a night, man. Unless y'all got something else to say.
No, actually, I think that playoff talk was definitely an excellent way to end the conversation tonight.
Exactly. Fournier, 3 points. All right. Well, salute to the chat. Shout out to Sherwin. Shout out to King Ja Manchild. Says we could have lost the Raptors as well. Yeah, we could have lost the Raptors, but we pulled that out. Shout out to my guy, Rick Nuggy Fresh is in the building. Says Tiz will be our Mark Jackson. Next year, we'll have a new coach to elevate our team.
Hell yeah.
With plays a better scheme. I feel like we're 2 years away, to be honest with you. I think Leon could spend $40 million better than Evan Rose and $8 million with Kemba. Yeah, the Kemba thing was not bad. Was pretty blah. Rose was good for a year. Now he's a mentor. I'm not crying over Rose because he's not that expensive, really, and he's going to expire next season. If there was an asterisk, maybe I would say it could be Evan Fournier. He won the 3-point shooting. He beat John Stark's 3-point shooting record last year. And we drafted Grimes to be his replacement. But I don't know. The front office does this thing where they try to have the veteran there to be training wheels for the rookie because they don't want the rookie to be baptized by fire. But it was obvious to me last year in December that Grimes should be starting over Fournier. Yeah. All right. Yo, we can end the show right there. Nice, quick, concise show. That's our show. Next game. When is the next game? Next game is the Pacers.
Wednesday.
Pacers.
On Wednesday.
Yeah.
Got it. We got the Pacers on Wednesday. Guarantee you it's going to be a barn burner. It was a close game before. You already know the Pacers are going to want their revenge. Curious to see what's going to happen with Miles Turner, though, because Miles Turner didn't sign his extension. So I'm curious to see what the Pacers was going to do with that. But it is a must win. We have to win that. We have to win that game and restart the streak. All right.
Yo.
Knicks 4-game winning streak snapped. Let's get this winning streak back on the rails on Wednesday. All right.
Knicks need to be strapped against the Pacers.
Huh?
They better come in strapped against the Pacers on Wednesday.
Oh, absolutely. We need to come in. Especially because, Wally was talking smack about Halliburton. And you already know Halliburton's going to come with the smoke because of what Wally said. So we need to be ready for that. And I need Randall to be ready. I need the team to be ready. We need more scoring from more guys in 3. I would like Grimes to get a few more touches. Lead to your credit when you talk about offensive schemes. I wish we used Grimes more like a Reggie Miller type of situation sometimes, or a Rip Hamilton situation to take some of the load off. I just wish we did that with Grimes a little bit more, getting some movement 3, since he has the potential to be that type of guy. But that is our show. Lee, let them know where they can find you, man.
Get at me on Twitter at _Lee Thibodeau.
All right. And my guy Ryan G, let them know where they can find you, sir.
You can find me on Instagram at Sir G is chilling.
Sir G is chilling.
That's SIRGCHILLIN. You can also find me at Sergi's Corner. You can also find me on Twitter at RyanGKOT. And I'm just here reading the comments section, seeing Lee and Sherman go at it, and it is highly entertaining. I have to admit.
Sherman's going to troll. That's what Sherman does.
Sherman needs to watch a tape. He's got his bum glasses on.
What are they saying? What's the commentary? I've been missing all this action.
Talking about the Atlanta, New York playoff series when John Collins played Julius Randle straight up, locked him up, got in his head, shut him down.
Oh, Randle did not choke in the playoff. The defense was great against him. Yeah, the defense was great against him. We didn't have a point guard who could help him out. It's one of those things where we didn't have a point guard. We didn't have a crazy imaginative defense, and he's not the guy. He's not the guy. He didn't necessarily he's not that player, man. He's not that player.
Yeah, Randle was expected to do too much, and Atlanta really shut him down as a result. And then on top of that, like you said, we didn't have point guard play. We didn't have good point guard play. We had Rose starting at point guard, playing a whole bunch of minutes. And Randle didn't really have guys around him that were actually producing and scoring buckets to help him out. So
right. And those are the type of games where you need him to shoot threes to a kind of series, you need him to shoot threes to make things happen. And he wasn't shooting threes. He wasn't hitting anything last season. So once you took that away and you have no other offensive help, it kind of helps. And then on top of that, I still felt like the passing schemes weren't the best with Randle that year. But I digress. And no Mitch as well. Shout out to Timmy.
My dad's in the chat, and he gave props to IQ.
Whoa,
Gunshot.
wait a minute. You have to pause the show.
Yes, he is.
IQ making... Listen, I keep trying to tell you. IQ low-key has been... IQ shot selection low-key has been better for like a month and a half. They just don't be dropping. They just don't be dropping. Now they starting to drop, so it looks like his shot selection is better now. But after like the first 3 weeks or so of bad basketball for IQ, like his shot selection has been a lot better. But
yeah, I had to take a photo of that just so I can remember it.
Facts. I just wish IQ was able to keep that same consistency when they made that push in the third quarter. Then maybe would it be able to sit Randle and Brunson a little bit longer. But it is what it is. Still a good game by IQ, who had 23 points on the night and a crazy stat line. 9 of 14, 64% from the field and 50% from three. So, gotta hand it to him. All right. Even though we lost. But, yep.
Agreed.
Yep. That is our show. Thanks, Lee's Pops. You can't take it back. He gave IQ a compliment. Everybody on KOT fam, screenshot that and send it to our email or something. Or post it on Twitter, okay? And then we'll tag him. So that'll live on the internet for as long as we live.
My dad just said LOL.
Oh man. But yo, that is our show. Salute to you guys. Listen, you already know where you can find us. You can find us. Hold on. Let me get to the... Well, first of all, get the snapbacks, the black and white and the blue and orange at the knickoftimeshow.com. Purchase, go to knickoftimeshow.com, hit catalog, get those snapbacks. Then follow us on the KOT Show on Twitter, the Knick of Time Show on Instagram and Facebook. Listen to us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, everywhere you listen to podcasts, listen to KOT. All right? Cool. That is our show. We out of here. All right. Tough loss, but we'll be back. Start another streak. And as always,
shout out the Worldwide West. Everywhere we go, we leave a worldwide mess.
It's a mess out here in these Knicks YouTube and Twitter streets. That is our show. We out there. Wait, hold on. What? At the buzzer.
Came through in the clutch.
At the buzzer. Julius Randle, take note. You see how he takes his shot at the buzzer and it goes in. Knicks Nation TV sends a $9.99 super chat right before the show ends. It says, great show. Randall, take note. I still love you, Randall. I still love you. I still appreciate what you do for this team and to turn around mentally in the season. But that's how you do it. You didn't choke in the clutch. All right? All right. That is our show. And as always,
Shout out the World Wide West. Everywhere we go, we leave a worldwide mess.
it's a mess out here in these Knicks YouTube streets. That is our show. We out of here.
Peace.
New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.
NYC.